minutes ago, Representative Gainey is on vacation today, so his absence is expected, and Director Jody Hirsch is also on vacation this week, so neither one of them will be present. We'll go ahead and get started with public comment, and there are a number of registrants for live public comment. We also received 3 written comment submissions, which will be posted to the URA's website and available for public review. They've been distributed to the board members in advance of the meeting. One of the written public comments pertains to the Skinny Roberts building downtown. The other 2 address property sales in Manchester, and those written comments, as I said, have been distributed to the board and will be publicly available on the URA's website. I think, I don't know who's managing the live public comment, but I think Sue Kerr, who also actually submitted written comment, but Sue Kerr, I think, is the first registrant. Jackie, are you teeing them up and unmuting them?
Yes, I don't see her.
She's been made a panelist, Jackie. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Okay, no worries.
Sue, you want to unmute yourself? Your 3 minutes will begin when you're unmuted.
Daniel, is she a panelist?
Yes, she is. I've asked her to unmute, but I'm not getting any response. So I think we should move on to the next and then circle back if Sue is unable to unmute herself right now.
Okay. So I think the next is do we have Dolores Thrower?
She informed us that she will not give public comment today.
Okay. So then I know Christine Kirby is on because she had a question in the chat a minute ago.
Hey. Hi, this is Christine Kirby. Can you hear me?
Hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yep. So dear members of the URA board and meeting attendees, my name is Christine Kirby and I am the Director of Development and Advancement with Neighborhood Legal Services. We are one of the current LAP contractors. As you know, in the wake of COVID-19's economic devastation and with the eviction moratorium phasing out and then back in again and probably out again across our region, many Pittsburghers are wondering if they will be able to keep a roof over their heads after losing incomes during the pandemic and falling behind on rent. One essential tool for preventing eviction is legal representation and/or mediation, which serves the rights of tenants and helps landlords and tenants come to successful resolutions that avoid displacement and homelessness. It has been shown time and time again that legal aid is key to the health of our economy. Legal aid is sorely needed to prevent the incoming tidal wave of evictions. In fact, the Consumer Financial Report recently issued a report that said tenants are facing more housing insecurity now than they were before the pandemic. As you know, eviction does not affect everyone equally. It disproportionately affects Black tenants and people with disabilities. It overwhelmingly impacts single mothers with children for many reasons. Women are paid less than men. Single mothers must bear the cost of childcare and healthcare, along with the cost of housing children. Sometimes landlords evict survivors of domestic violence for the violent conduct of their abusers. So the HOF Advisory Committee, the URA Board and staff are to be commended for its leadership in creating the LAP program for tenants and homeowners. It is also important to take the time to recognize the efforts of Jeremy Carter and his team, Brianna Benjamin, Bettina Haig, and others behind the scenes for their diligence and care in setting up a model legal assistance program, one that is easily accessible and works for both service providers and renters and homeowners alike. Much is to be granted in systems design by inviting input from community stakeholders and substantive experts. The URA team, under Jeremy's leadership, took public comment and input very seriously. The ease of which people facing housing insecurity and needing legal advice access critical legal services, and the coordination of service providers in the LAP program via no wrong door approach for clients is a direct result of the cooperation of the LAP service providers and the URA staff working together. So thank you for that. I encourage the URA Board to dedicate future funding to the LAP program, maintain oversight over the HOF program and the HSP programs. And one final word, if I may, about Tangled Title. Right now in Allegheny County, the URA is the only major funder of Tangled Title work. There are thousands of homes in our city with unclear ownership.
10 seconds.
With people taking qualified help for home repairs. So many Pittsburghs are at risk of losing their millions of dollars in household wealth. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I don't know if I think Pat Clark is the next registrant.
I don't believe that they are on the call unless their name is displayed incorrectly.
Okay. Do we want to go back to Sue?
Sue clarified in a chat that she actually submitted written comment in lieu of public comment. She just couldn't pull back the initial registration to do it live.
Understood. Okay. So then I think that unless we have, is that all the registrants? Unless Pat Clark wants to raise their hand.
That's all the registrants for today.
Okay. Thank you. So that's all of the public comment that we've received for today. I believe that Councilman Lavelle has joined the meeting now, which would give us a quorum.
That is
Councilman,
correct.
can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here, Sam.
There you are. Great. I can see you. I think the next order of business would be, go back to approval of the minutes from the May board meeting. May 26th and June 10th. Those are the special board meetings regarding the Lower Hill. So those minutes have been distributed. If they were found to be in order, then a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
So, second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. I've stated already multiple times regarding roll call that Representative Gainey and Director Hirsch are absent, but let the record show that Councilman Lavelle, Director Powell, and I are all present. I think before we go into announcements, I believe Executive Director Flistrom has a statement to read regarding the federal appropriations allocated to the URA.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Williamson. Welcome from Mission Control at URA. We haven't been down here in this office for a while, so it's nice to see some people in the office. But yeah, I think it was really feel like we need to kind of clear the air on the ARP, the American Rescue Plan dollars. Obviously, the city was awarded upwards of $300 million, and about 70,000 of that, 70 million of that rather, has been routed or is in the process of being routed to URA. And we just want to make a quick statement about how excited we are for the allocation of ARP funds from the Peduto administration. I'd like to thank the administration and the city council for crafting a plan that prioritizes equity, sustainability, job creation, and neighborhood revitalization. We really view this as a vote of confidence in the work that the URA has done to shift its focus over the past few years to forge a more prosperous future for all residents of the city, especially those that have historically experienced development to happen to and not by them or not with them. We understand that there are concerns about the allocation process, as there should be. We believe in full transparency. While we cannot directly speak to the matter of the procedural methods by which the money will be distributed in terms of the guidelines right now, because those are being currently drafted, we can address that. Transparency is very important to us, as it should be. Every dollar budget to us must be authorized for a specific use or allocated to a specific project by the URA through a board vote. These votes will be listed on publicly advertised board agendas and will occur at publicly held meetings. So planning is currently underway, but we hope to start taking such votes as early as October to make sure the resources are deployed as soon as they possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, and well said. So I think we have several announcements, one regarding the for sale development program RFP release. Evan Miller, I think, is going to talk to us about that.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. My name's Evan Miller, and I'm the Housing Policy Manager with the Residential Lending and Investments Unit here at the URA. And I wanted to inform the board and members of the public that the URA will be releasing an RFP for its new for sale development program on August 25th, 2021. Over the last 12 months, the residential lending team has been making efforts to consolidate various URA programs that serve similar purposes in order to streamline the application process for developers that would like to work with the URA, and to increase the efficiency of the URA staff when vetting and underwriting these applications. So the new for sale development program RFP is going to serve as a single point of entry for development teams that are looking for loan or grant financing in support of the rehab or new construction of affordable for sale housing that's going to be sold to buyers at or below 80% of the area median income. Again, the release date is August 25th, 2021, and an optional pre-proposal meeting where URA staff is going to review program guidelines, go over the RFP and the application process, and field questions is going to be held virtually on September 14th, 2021. The information on how to join that meeting is going to be included in the RFP, which is going to be posted on the URA's website and on the URA's bid procurement site, which is Ion Wave Technologies. And one final note is that this RFP does not have a submission deadline. The applications are going to be accepted and reviewed on a rolling basis. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Evan. Next, I think we have Jamie Reese to provide the second quarter 2021 performance report.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. First, we are excited to announce that the URA is launching a new impact section on our website. That's coming this Monday for anybody that wants to dig a lot deeper into what you're about to see, what the URA does, and how we're doing on a quarterly basis. So here's a couple of highlights. This first slide takes a longer term view and sheds lights on why the URA staff manage development projects on a day-to-day basis. In the second quarter, staff were actively managing 48 development projects. And I want to draw your attention to two things about this. First, the URA has invested about $38 million in these projects to date. So that's cumulative across those projects. And that investment is going to continue to leverage additional public and private investment that'll meet the total project cost around $1.2 billion by the time they're completed. The second thing to notice on this slide is during the second quarter, a lot of our staff time was spent on securing outside funding, committing URA funding, and guiding projects through the disposition process. And as we know, those are activities and roles that the URA is uniquely positioned to take on. We go to the next slide. This focuses on what we've done in the second quarter to support residents, neighborhoods, and businesses. So we supported residents and their families by helping 59 individuals down a promising career path, 130 families to stay in their homes, 24 people achieving home ownership, and by helping create and preserve 130 affordable housing units. We supported 220 small and local businesses this quarter by continuing to help with wayfinding and resource navigation, and also by closing on 21 loans through both the URA and the affiliate Invest PGH, most of which were to minority and women-owned businesses. We supported neighborhoods by dispersing $183,000 to local businesses that maintain vacant property and community organizations that advance neighborhood projects. We strongly encourage anyone that's interested in the detail behind these highlights, check out that impact section on URA.org this Monday. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So then I think on today's agenda, we've got 5 or 6 items that fall under Avenues of Hope investment, 4 residential lending investments, I think just 1 that we're actually going to vote on today, development services agenda items, and then the disclosure agenda. So we'll jump right into the first voting item, which is in Chartiers and Perrysville Avenue. Chartiers Ave and Perrysville Ave. Josette Fitzgibbons, I think, is going to walk the board through this.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. This actually isn't a voting item. It's just a announcement. Tomorrow we will be releasing an RFP for the Perrysville and Chartiers Avenue Business District corridors to develop basically a business district strategy for each of these 2. You can see the details on your screen. We're going to be looking for planning, economic development professionals. The strategies will include data collection, business mix information, rental rates, market data, all of the basic information that we like to have about our business districts. We're focusing on these 2 corridors specifically because they're the ones of all of the Avenues of Hope corridors that we don't have as much information about, that we don't have as high level of groups. There is some capacity building in them. So we're going to be working through the process with stakeholder groups. We'll be consulting the organizations that are already there, as well as council members, to put together stakeholder committees to help us figure out development priorities and business mix ideas and develop some recommendations for the implementation of the plan. Any questions?
Got it. Thank you. Any questions from the board? No? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Acre Program is next, which is a voting item. And Jennifer Wilhelm is going to talk us through this item. There you are.
Hi, good afternoon. I am pleased to present this new program that we would like to launch for the Avenues of Hope 7 business districts. This new tool will allow real estate developments capital to help fill gaps in projects. If you can move to the next slide, please. The new program is a loan amount of up to $200,000. The idea is that there would be no payments due for 20 years. It would fill these critical gaps in projects that simply cannot support short-term debt, instead allowing time for these markets to appreciate and for the buildings to gain value. And then in 20 years, we would accept payment back, or we would term it out as a term loan at that time. If the building does sell before that period, the loan would be due back in full. So this tool is critical, I believe, because as we've been working with so many of these important projects, we are finding that the capital stacks can be challenging. This is a creative solution, we believe, to help make some of these projects happen. Any questions?
Questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I had a question, and thank you for putting together guidelines. I know A lot of folks have come up to the URA and the city asking more concretely about how they can be a part of the Avenues of Hope initiative. And so it's great to have some kind of concrete ideas and guidelines that people can see. Could you go back to this slide? There you go. Just for clarity for everyone, listening, when you say available only in Avenue of Hope neighborhoods, are you saying that this funding would be just for the corridor itself or for some of the surrounding blocks behind the corridor? I just want to clarify again for everyone listening, because I know that's come up several times where, I have an interest in a project that is right off of Warrington versus on Warrington, and how our guidelines address that.
So it's absolutely available for on the actual avenues, on the corridors. I think those that are supporting the corridors, the commercial spaces is important. This is only for commercial. So if a development is mixed use, these dollars would be focused on the commercial portion. This program is not specifically for housing in the neighborhoods. So the answer would be that we would look at it on a case-by-case basis. If there's a commercial building that is impacting the corridor and has a critical project for the neighborhood, then absolutely it could be used. This program could be used for that.
Thank you, Director. Appreciate the clarity.
Any other questions?
And I'm sorry, just another thought too, just because again, I'm very excited that we have some, concrete guidelines for folks to look at in the spirit of Avenues of Hope. And I know that the URA has been working really hard to push in this direction, but I know it doesn't say it explicitly here, but again, for the room, the purpose of Avenues of Hope is to create opportunities and spaces for Black and minority firms to come back to these corridors. So I know it's not explicitly stated here, but wanted to again reiterate the purpose, mission, and goal of Avenues of Hope. And the idea would be for this particular program and guideline that we are trying to target, trying to attract, trying to support MWBE firms, and particularly Black firms, to come back to these spaces. So just elevating that for the room and those listening. And I know it's obviously the main goal of Avenues of Hope, but wanted to make sure that that was clear and stated as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Director Powell. Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, then I think a motion would be in order.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is Sankofa Square and Leah Matthews.
Hello, everybody. Today, we are requesting authorization for the proposal in form of contract for the sale of 15 publicly owned parcels in the 5th Ward to Sankofa Group, Inc., or a related entity for $186,000 plus costs. Yeah. The Sankofa Square project will construct a 45,000 square foot, 3-story commercial structure. The first floor will be utilized by Smoketown Culinary and serve as a launching site for local entrepreneurs in the food industry. Floor 2 and 3 will contain commercial office space. The total development cost for this project is $9.1 million. I do have Irv Williams from the Sankofa Group here today to say a couple of words or answer any questions the board may have about the project.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. No questions, but I do want to just point out a point of clarity because board members did receive an email this morning, I believe, regarding this process and not working with the development review panel. And just for clarity, almost every project that we have ever seen and voted on has gone before the DRP. However, this process started approximately 3 years ago or so when we were looking and issuing RFPs for the redevelopment of Center Avenue. It was at that time that it was undetermined whether the CDC was going to be responding as a developer for any of the parcels. It was also at that time that our law department, and they can speak to it better than I, spoke about the fact that they could not be both the respondent as a developer as well as run the review process for any other respondents, because potential conflicts would arise and we also would potentially be running foul of some federal laws. That they never fully determined whether or not they were going to be responding as developers for any of the parcels. Therefore, I, through my office, led the review process for these parcels and these development proposals. We've had, I believe, at least 4 meetings, and staff can certainly correct me, but we've had at least 4 meetings. We had, before COVID, we had a number of in-person meetings. We had one where we spent an entire Saturday, close to about 6-7 hours together, reviewing these proposals. We also had community members review them, and these developments have gone before the community at least 4 different times where they've been able to express concerns, which is why the next one you'll see has actually been adjusted for affordable. But with that being said, I'm also excited. I want to thank the URA staff for all their hard work on this. I do want to thank the CDC for asking us to be more innovative and more equitable. And I think we're in a good place today, and I'm excited to move this forward. I just wanted to provide that clarity.
Yeah, that context is helpful because I don't know whether that email was intended for public comment. I was going to mention it, though. It came through from the Hill CDC just as the meeting was beginning, and mentioned that Sankofa had not been through the DRP process, and I think the next agenda item, Rose Street Townhomes, is on the DRP agenda for a meeting tonight or sometime soon. So that context is really, really helpful.
Could I add that? I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that at the community meeting where we did receive community feedback, this project received a 83% approval percentage. So I just wanted to add that in.
Thanks. Irv, you want to add anything additional here? Any additional context or thoughts before we take questions from see if Lindsay has any questions or any other thoughts? You're muted.
Seems like he's having technical difficulties.
It's a day of technical difficulties.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, any other questions, anything further to add? So just to be clear, this is approving the final drawings and evidence of financing, right?
I say
Development proposal, and this is the disposition contract, this one.
Right, yes.
Yeah, thanks.
I think there's someone else in the Q&A. It says that they'd like to speak on his behalf if he can't join.
Yes, I'm going to allow them to speak now. Okay.
There we go. I should be unmuted. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Thank you so much. My name is Janae Smith. I'm Irv Williams' daughter. And since he can't unmute himself, I just want to share a few words. One, thanking the URA for working tirelessly with us as an organization, Sankofa Square and E Holdings, to get this project to this point, for the community for providing us valuable input about what's important resources that we can include in this facility that helps us continue to be a community partner as we've been throughout the years. And we just ask for continued support, encouragement, and patronage in the future when the building finally has its grand opening. Again, I'd like to thank the URA, Director Walker, Councilman Lavelle, and others for all your tireless work and efforts to bring Center Avenue back as part of the Center of Hope. So just thank you for your time.
Thank you. So if there are no other questions, then I think a motion is appropriate at this time.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
And motion is seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so next is Rose Street, 21 Rose Street, and Chuck Alcorn. There he is.
Good afternoon. I'm Chuck Alcorn, Project Development Manager, presenting today the 21 Rose project by our Kindle Development Group. We are requesting the acceptance of a proposal package to advance this development to the next stage of a URA disposition process. The project consists of 5 URA-owned parcels that will be developed into 6 single-family townhouses. It is located on Rose Street, about 2 blocks from Center Avenue. Each house will have integral garages, 2 bathrooms, and other features. There will be a mix of 2 and 3 bedroom houses ranging in size from 1,700 to 2,000 square feet. 2 of the houses will be affordable to households at or below 80% area median income. And the developer has been working diligently on securing the financing and has actually partnered with the PHDC to help out with the affordable units. The financing is mostly secured, and the project should be coming again for final board action in the coming months. I just wanted to add also that the project is being presented tonight at the Hill District Development Activities Meeting, and that Stefan Johnson should be in attendance if there are any questions about the project. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
No questions. I believe this development is critical to bring more homeownership to our neighborhood. I also want to thank URA staff for hearing some of the concerns from the community about also ensuring that there were some levels of affordable homeownership as part of this development, and then working collaboratively to find a way to ensure that. So thank you all.
Yeah, and we continue with both of these to see the results of the Center Avenue RFQ process that started a couple of years ago that the councilman mentioned, and that has been, I don't know, pretty amazing to see these projects kind of come through all the way to the end here. So with that, I think a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Great. So now we're moving on to I guess Hazelwood and the 2nd Avenue City of Bridges Community Land Trust.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Adelaide Roddy. I'm a project manager with the URA's Development Services team. Next for your consideration is the City of Bridges Community Land Trust 4,800 block development. The board previously gave the developer, City of Bridges, exclusive negotiation rights in March after they responded to a competitive RFP and prevailed as the top pick. Today's request is twofold. First, to enter into an option agreement with City of Bridges for the sale of 5 parcels at a price of $20,000 plus transaction costs. Second, to extend the exclusive negotiation period for the sale of the remaining 3 parcels at a price of $40,000 plus transaction costs. The option agreement is being drafted so the developer can apply for grant funding to fill a financing gap. Special language will be used to address specific grantee funding requirements that will follow our standard process and comply with urban redevelopment law. Total estimated development costs are about $4.8 million. The first phase will include parcels along Chatsworth Avenue and total 4 3-bedroom homes. The second phase will include parcels along Hazelwood Avenue and total 8 homes. The exact unit mix for the second phase is still being configured, but will include a combination of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. The project will hit a new level of environmental quality by becoming Living Buildings certified. Financing will include grants such as the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh funds, new market tax credits, and housing opportunity funds. A robust community input process will take place over the coming months to inform the final design and layout of the homes, but so far community feedback has been positive. With us today representing the development team is Director of the City of Bridges Community Land Trust, Ed Nuther, who will be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. So just all 12 of the units across both phases will be affordable? That's
correct. Yes. Permanently affordable.
Yeah.
Serving households between 60 and 80% AMI.
That's great. Any questions?
No, I was just going to say I'm really excited that we're seeing City of Bridges more and more come to the URA. I think land trusts, and land banking, but land trusts are such an amazing way to continue to keep permanent affordability in our neighborhoods. I always say that every meeting, anytime there are more affordable units with multi-bedroom more affordable units with several bedrooms in them are exactly what we need. And so I'm really excited to again see City of Bridges here and hope to continue to see you across the city. I'm really looking forward to some of the ARP dollars that are coming to the URA to expand our investment in local land trusts. So thank you so much to City of Bridges. And again, can't wait to see you across the city doing more of this amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Director Powell.
Anything else you want to add?
Just want to say thank you again. I'm Ed Nusser with the City of Bridges. Just want to say thanks again. URA staff has been fantastic to work with. Adelaide, Leah, and Nick, and of course, leadership from Directors Walker and Flisrum. We are really excited to be advancing these houses in a new neighborhood for us and working with new community partners. So just very excited to get to work and appreciate the ongoing support from the URA.
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing. It's pretty great. So with that said, I think we should entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Sorry, second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now Steel City Squash. Larimer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Friedman, Community Development Specialist for the URA's Development Services team. Authorization is requested today to accept the redevelopment proposal and enter into a disposition contract with Steel City Squash in the Larimer neighborhood of Pittsburgh for the sale of 25 publicly owned parcels at the price of $122,000 plus transaction costs. The total development cost for this project is approximately $7,930,000. In the scope of work, facility equipped with squash courts, exercise equipment, classrooms, and/or community meeting space. The layout and building rendering pictured here have been designed by incorporating community and stakeholder feedback. Steel City and Squash intends to continue community engagement processes to ensure community benefit while also building a state-of-the-art facility for the students served by their programming. I can take any questions at this time.
No questions. This is something that we've seen and talked about before, I think, so I think we're all pretty familiar with it at this point. We would entertain a motion unless there are questions.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have residential lending and investment, beginning with, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Sheptitsky. Arm.
No worries. Hi, everyone. My name is Brett Morgan, and today I'm presenting for your review a $750,000 rental gap program loan for the rehabilitation of Sheptitsky Arms Apartments. This is an existing 5-story apartment building located in the Brighton Heights neighborhood. It was originally constructed in 1986, and it is currently 100% occupied. The work to be completed at the site involves the rehabilitation and renovation of the building's exterior, unit interiors, and common areas, as well as major systems replacement. And the goal of the work is mainly to improve the property's overall quality while simultaneously extending the lifespan of the existing affordable units. So the building contains 50 total rental units, 49 of which are affordable. Specifically, 40 units are affordable at or below 30% AMI, 7 units are at or below 50%, 2 units at or below 60%, and 1 unit at market rate. So of the 49 affordable units, there are also 13 studio efficiency units and 36 one-bedroom units. The borrower is requesting URA financing in the form of a $750,000 RGP loan. This loan would require a declaration to be recorded, ensuring that the 49 affordable units stay at those levels for a period of 40 years, and that matches PHFA's LIHTC requirements. So the development's also receiving a first mortgage from PHFA and 4% LIHTC equity. But the total development cost is about $8.69 million. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Liam Robinson with Salis Development, who we've been working with closely on preserving these affordable units in the Brighton Heights neighborhood.
Thanks, Brett.
He did email me and mentioned he had a meeting at 3, so I'm not sure if he's still able to join or not.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm still here. I was just trying to get the video going, but I don't think the camera access is working. But yeah, thank you for having us today. My name is Liam Robinson with Salis Development. We're very excited to be closing on the Sheptitsky Arms LIHTC renovation later this year, and very happy to be awarded the URA loan last month at their meeting. Brett gave a pretty thorough explanation of the financing of our project. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything about the renovation plans or any financing details.
And these are all occupied currently, correct?
Yes, we have started to, from now until closing, if there are vacant units, we probably will be, we plan to be holding them vacant before the renovation so we can do an in-place relocation. But currently the building is 100% occupied.
Thanks. This is clearly an important component to, solving the ongoing affordable housing problems that Pittsburgh faces. We got to build new supply, but we've also got to lengthen and preserve the affordability of existing units and improve them in the process. So happy to see that happening here with a decent number of units.
Yeah, with the LIHTC program, I believe, being extended another 30 years of affordability for this building, which I think is very important for Pittsburgh in general, and even then the Brighton Heights neighborhood in specifics.
Yeah. So any other questions or comments from the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right. So I'm also presenting to the board today final authorization to issue multifamily bonds for Northside Residences Phase 3. This is in the amount of $16 million to finance capital costs associated with the rehab of 68 scattered site units across the California Kirkbride, Central Northside, and Perry South neighborhoods. This project has been presented to and approved by the URA Board twice previously, once for the intent to issue bonds and then for URA financing. The project's currently on track to close by the end of October 2021. This voting action is more or less to finalize the issuance of the bonds that the board initially approved in February.
Understood. Any questions?
No, excited to see this continue to move forward.
Is that a motion?
Yep, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Brett. So Jeremy Carter, I think, is going to talk to about this co-op agreement with the county.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Today we are seeking authorization to enter into a cooperative agreement with Allegheny County Department of Human Services to administer the Housing Stabilization Program effective September 1st. The URA is working really closely with Department of Human Services to ensure a smooth and seamless transfer. The program will be closed to new applications the last 2 weeks of August so that all parties have time to focus on transitioning the wait lists, the systems of record, and processing the last invoices for the URA. The coordinated entry provider will switch from United Way 211 to the Allegheny Link, which will be effective September 1st. The HOF Advisory Board approved this last week, and the maximum value of the co-op agreement will be $2,086,391.
Thank you. And, this is, the HSP is provides really critical, often emergency support to renters in need, and often sort of steps in to try to help folks stabilize their situations and avoid evictions. And it's our hope, correct me if I'm wrong, it's our hope, and I guess the HOF Advisory Board's hope, that this move will sort of allow for greater responsiveness to residents when they're seeking help, and get them the help that they need with a little bit less bureaucracy and a little bit more efficiency. Is that a fair summary?
That's correct. The switch to coordinated entry to Allegheny Link will be a much better experience for customers seeking help, and then just being all under the umbrella of the other rental assistance programs for the county will help streamline services across the board.
Thanks. Makes a lot of sense. Any questions? Any comments?
I was going to say that we talked about this at length, how to make sure that we have a continuum of care for those who, call us for rent relief and may mention that they have other pressing issues that they, need assistance with, and we give them a warm handoff, but there are two systems outside of what we can provide. And so, I think, you and your team have done such an amazing job of making, people feel heard, people feel responded to. And while I'll be, sad to see this program go, from underneath the URA, I think it makes a lot of sense to ensure that when folks are calling for rent relief, they're able to get connected to all, a myriad of different services that are not underneath the URA, but are underneath the county. While we transition, and Jeremy and folks at DHS, would love to continue to be a part of these conversations as we transition this program over. I just want to make sure that the high level quality of care that your team has been able to provide folks continues to exist at the county. And with all due respect there, I know that there are so many different programs there. We want to make sure that the stellar, I believe the stellar service that you're able to give people as a small program continues to exist continues to exist at DHS as a smaller program within a myriad of much larger programs. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, the coordinated entry will really help people not have to bounce, from place to place to place, but really just be able to make one phone call and get connected to all the services. But I don't want to lose sight of our ability to really follow up with folks calling, give them that warm handoff. And so again, as we transition, would love to continue to talk about how we're able to provide the best quality care, even though this is, even though this won't be our program anymore.
Just to briefly respond, Director Powell, the flexibility that's embedded in the program structure that really makes this program unique and available to people who don't meet other criteria for other programs will still maintain that in the program, and any program changes or process changes will still come through the HOF and URA boards.
Thank you. And again, just a shout out to you, Bettina and Brianna. I know that you guys have, especially during the pandemic, have been working so hard. And so, I think that moving the program makes a lot of sense, but I definitely wanted to shout all of you out for your continued hard work, care, and elevation of this program. So thank you.
Great, thanks. Any other thoughts or comments, questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, I'll roll into the second one. This is authorization to approve guideline changes for the Small Landlord Fund. So just to point out the changes here, we'll be replacing our PNC PRI source with internal funding until we can secure other more permanent funding. No changes will be made to the affordability. There will still be 80% AMI and below, and if the units are in alternative payment standard zone, they will be required to work with the Housing Authority. We are changing the loan terms from 10 to 15 to 10 years, but there will be waivers for 15 if the developer needs it. And then the interest rate was variable, but we are locking that at 3%. We're also extending the interest-only period for developers so that they can have that room for construction and lease up. So there'll be interest only for 6 months with full PNI starting on month 7.
And we are hoping in part that these changes will encourage more small landlords to apply for the program, right?
That's correct. And part of changing the repayment terms and the affordability period is trying to align with other common funding streams that developers are bringing to the table.
Yeah, I mean, this program was originally created in the hopes that it would help small landlords improve their properties and be able to maintain affordability and potentially improve their properties to be able to qualify for voucher receipts. And I don't know, in the couple of years that it's existed, I think we've only gotten a handful of applicants, right?
Right.
It's a really well-intentioned, really smartly thought out, important program. we really hope that these changes will get more landlords to apply for this funding and for this support. And I don't know if maybe we need to put some advertising dollars behind it as well, or something, in order to get the word out more broadly.
Yeah, we have 7 projects somewhere either completed or in process. Then we have funding to fund an additional 20 units of affordable housing.
Yeah, so there's capacity here. Okay, well, these changes certainly make sense to me.
Makes sense to me.
Motion, I think, would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, the motion carries. Thanks, Jeremy. So the next agenda item, I think, there we go. Just to go back one slide, just wanted to mention that the next agenda, there we go, the Skinny Roberts building had been on our agenda today. Because Representative Gainey was unable to be at this meeting today, he asked if we'd be willing to hold this agenda item until next month so that the full board could be present when we discuss it. And so that's the only reason this is being held, out of consideration for Representative Gainey and his desire to be part of the conversation when we consider the future of the Skinny Roberts buildings. So the next agenda item that we're actually going to consider today is the modular housing on Rosetta Street in Garfield, which folks may remember it was on our agenda a few months ago. We did not vote on it because it did not have the support of the board at that time, but it's changed and is back on our agenda. So I think, sorry, Rich Snipe.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Rich Snipe, the Deputy Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Housing Development Corporation. This afternoon, we are seeking exclusive negotiations for 9 city-owned lots in the 5100 block of Rosetta Street. As our chairman had mentioned, this project was presented to the board back in May. And at that time, we heard the board's concerns loud and clear. And since then, we have revised our project plan. We've taken the time to meet with the residents of Garfield, as well as several meetings with Bloomfield Garfield. And we believe that what we'll present today is a package that you'll be able to appreciate and approve. Back in May, the project consisted of the 9 city-owned lots on Broad Street, as well as 2 city-owned lots, the 9 city-owned lots on Rosetta Street, as well as 2 city-owned lots on Broad Street. The composition was going to be 10 for-sale homes on Rosetta, with 3 of them being affordable to families at or below 80% AMI, and the 2 houses on Broad Street would have been market rate housing. We understood the concerns that the community had, as well as the board had, in seeking to increase the affordability. So we went back, did some revisions, and what we're asking for today is to divide this into 2 projects. The first project, which we're only going to focus on today, is Rosetta Street. Rosetta Street, we went back and made some revisions, and we believe that we can produce 3 to 4 affordable units to families at or below 80% AMI. The second project, which will be presented at a later date, which will be the Broad Street project, those will be 2 permanently affordable units, and Module will only act as the builder of that project. The City of Bridges Community Land Trust will be the owner of that project. And again, those will be 2 permanently affordable units. So our focus today, again, is back to Rosetta Street. And we believe that we can produce 3 to 4 units made available to families at or below 80% AMI. We also put together a package, and we're looking for additional funding, grant funding, which we feel pretty confident we may be able to get. And if we're able to secure that additional grant funding, we should solidly be able to produce those 4 units for families at 80% AMI. we can go to the next slide. Not sure if it's. This is the site, and if you drive down that site today, you'll find that that 5100 block of Rosetta Street basically has been abandoned. There's overgrowth, there's dumping that's going on. These homes will make a major difference to that community. And the residents that we spoke to made it loud and clear that they want the opportunity to become homeowners in that neighborhood. They don't want to be renters, and nor do they want to relocate someone else. So our desire and our commitment is to make that possible for those residents. If you drive down that street today, you'll notice that there is some investment going on in the very next block. I saw today when I rode past there are 2 homes under renovation. So this will add to the strength of that community, and also add to the opportunities of making homeownership available to families. One of the ways we're going to be able to make this happen is we'll be applying for funding through the Keystone Community Grant. We've been pretty successful so far on other projects, and we're hoping that we'll also be successful with this. We have with us today Brian and Lou from Module, as well as Rick Swartz, to answer any additional questions that the board may have.
Well, Rich, I really just wanted to thank you and thank Module and the Community Land Trust for taking the board's feedback so seriously and so constructively, because now we're looking at the potential of moving from only 3 of 12 total units being affordable to 6 of them, 6 of the 12, but half of them being affordable units, which is a significant improvement and appropriate, we think, for the neighborhood. I mean, we talked about this back in May, but Garfield should really not just be considered a low-income neighborhood in need of market rate development at this point. It's a very rapidly changing neighborhood where housing prices are increasing and homes are being flipped. And if we want to preserve a mix of affordable units there, then we have to make hard decisions like this one. So I just want to thank you for continuing your work on this, and thank the developer for hearing us and taking this seriously. Representative McGaney did ask me to convey publicly on his behalf that he supports moving forward today with exclusive negotiations, but wants it to be stated publicly and on the record that that he's intends to support this in the future if we can secure the 4th unit. That it's being proposed as 3 to 4 potential affordable units, and strongly encouraging the developer to actually get to that 4th unit of affordable units in this first part of the project.
I would want to add, as one of the board members who had concerns previously, again, thank you, Richard and Module, for coming back with something I think that is much more palatable and also addresses a lot of the concerns that Director Williamson has talked about, creating opportunities for current residents to become homeowners, especially with these really beautiful, high efficiency units as well. I would also just want to talk a little bit about this neighborhood impact and really make sure that we've talked through this piece as well about the PHDC looking to provide facade grants for neighbors in the area, as well as making sure that there's green space, as well as financial empowerment, opportunities for financial crediting, homeowner preparedness. I really, again, want to commend the team for re-envisioning this. I think the larger impact that you're also presenting, even outside of the addition of houses going into a land trust, is really, really important. With these projects, it's not just building new homes and having those, folks come into the space. It's the larger impact to the neighborhood and community, and appreciate that through this project you're addressing some of the concerns that the neighborhood had brought up on how these units would impact Garfield as a whole. And again, love to see that we're making a concerted effort to make beautiful spaces in this area, but also prepare other residents who may not be, moving into these module homes, prepare them for home owner opportunities in Garfield. So thank you again for coming with this revised deal. I am much more comfortable moving forward with this than the previous deal proposed to the board. So thank you again.
We thank the board for the opportunity to present it. And again, we take your comments seriously, and we hope that's reflected in today's presentation.
Motion to approve.
Sorry, I see Mr. Zhu trying to unmute himself and
I
say something.
I'm just trying to make a comment and thank you, everyone. Thank you, URA, for providing this platform for us. And I just want to, on behalf of the developer, and just say thank you to everyone. And what we're trying to do is just be a socially oriented kind of impact developer, and not just profit driven, but trying to create impact to the community, trying to increase awareness of quality of that kind of physical environment in a larger that kind of impact to the community. So I really want to thank you everyone and providing this kind of platform for us to expand that impact and working with the community members like Rich, Rick, and many others, Justin, and many other than kind of business owners from the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There was one more slide that showed the affordability as well, if you're interested in seeing that.
There we go.
Yeah, it shows the sales price, what the first, second, and third mortgage would be added, as well as the down payment assistance. And it brings a payment of around $797. Actually, that payment, if that house was built today, would actually be less than that because the interest rate would be slightly lower.
Yeah, this is
so again, it's extremely affordable. In addition to,
sorry, go ahead. There's a little bit of a buffering delay, I think, on your audio. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It also provides a great opportunity for a family to have real wealth in a community.
Yeah, this is a great snapshot of why we should be promoting affordable homeownership for low-income and working families across Pittsburgh, because that's a lot less than the cost of rent in virtually any neighborhood in Pittsburgh for a 3 to 4, for a 2 to 3 bedroom unit. Is there a motion to approve? Sorry, Councilman, I interrupted you in the middle of your motion earlier.
No, that's so moved.
Second.
Thanks. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you. And I think the last order of business is approval of the disclosure agenda. Greg or Diamante, anything particular we want to call out here? It's usually
particular note, these are all relatively administrative items that we want the public and the board to have some visibility to, but the main meat of the meeting, I think, is covered in the main agenda.
Thank you. So I would entertain a motion. The disclosure agenda is entirety.
Motion to approve it in its entirety.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes today's meeting. Thanks to all the presenters, the staff, the leadership of the board. The next URA board meeting will be same time, same Zoom place on September 9th. So we will see you all then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.